Almost there. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty. Today, we're talking about 80s sci-fi, and I got a huge panel of dudes over here. Hey, dudes.
We are a large panel.
We're a panel of large men, no less.
Starting off with Mr. Apocalypse Chuck, a.k.a. Chuck Rice, former Emmy nominee. Chuck, good to have your RPG designing butt back on the show. Thank you so much for coming out, sir.
What's this former bullshit? The nomination is still there.
That is fair. My mistake.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Oh, Mama said knock you out.
And Darren Drader, formerly of WotC, currently of Darren Drader Designs, is there next to him with a cool background. Darren, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I live in the dream. Directly beneath Darren is Mr. Andrew Collis, who we'll call Bear. How you doing, Bear?
I'm good. How you doing?
And if people want to find you and enjoy some of your comedy online, you've got a very popular YouTube channel right now, right?
I wouldn't call it popular, but sure. I have a YouTube channel.
You're monetized.
Yeah, that doesn't mean shit.
Okay. Fair enough. And last but not least is Jacob Blackman. Jacob, how you doing?
I may not be the most handsome in Norman, but I am the hottest because our AC is out today. It always waits. It always waits for a Friday to go out. I swear, it's a thing.
Who's got show tunes playing in the background?
That'd be my wife, who's got the TV up too loud.
BAMF Podcast, pop culture, nerdery, and domestic disputes.
All righty. Well, hey, talking about 80s sci-fi. 80s were a great decade for science fiction. We had, God, can't even do the countdown, can we? I mean, besides the obvious Empire Strikes Back, you had Tron, you had Buckaroo Banzai, you had Big Trouble in Little China, which might be more fantasy than sci-fi, come to think of it.
Ice Pirates.
Directly related to Buckaroo Banzai, and I could talk about that for hours. You got Last Starfighter, you got Enemy Mine, you've got Dreamscape, you've got
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars. There we go.
Battle Beyond the Stars is a great movie, man. I love that movie. What are you talking about?
I've seen it several times. Yeah.
Films. You
There's
got
the Corbin schlock that came out during the 1980s. Mwah.
Oh, yeah.
Just
You got Star Trek 2, 3, and 4, the greatest
schlock.
trilogy in movie history next to Lord of the Rings.
Ewoks, Battle for Endor. Come on.
Get out.
Outland with Sean Connery. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Great movie.
That was a good one.
Love that
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner? Videodrome?
Lynch's Dune.
Dune.
Yeah, Blade Runner, that movie, I've studied it more than once in a classroom.
It's
People study the shit out of that film, and the one thing I learned in film studies class is they're all full of shit, just like Ridley Scott. But that's the brilliance of that film, is you can extrapolate. It's like The Shining. You can extrapolate from it whatever you want because of the way it's created, right? It's just so fucking visceral and malleable as a concept by what's not said versus what is said. So you can really, really explore it. And I think that's a great fucking film as a result.
Well, I think on the one hand, there's always a debate, is Deckard a replicant, right?
He is not.
I disagree. I disagree. But
Denis Villeneuve, Rutger Hauer, and Harrison Ford all agree with me. So,
but more importantly, when it comes to Blade Runner, is the influence that Blade Runner had on the cyberpunk genre.
Absolutely.
The Japanese future originated there.
Yep.
Well, I guess you could kind of argue that it originated with anime, but I think Blade Runner had a huge influence on it.
Anime took so much from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Right. So you got a lot of that.
You don't get those giant arcologies that you see in most of cyberpunk without the freaking giant pyramids from Blade Runner.
The Tyrell Corporation building. I saw there's a model company that's like taken over from Eagle Moss or whatever, and they're going to be releasing a little model of the Tyrell building as one of their releases. And it's just like, okay,
cool.
I'm not getting it, but Okay, that's a want, you know.
We don't have that kind of money.
We don't have that kind of money.
I produce role-playing games. I have no money. What are you talking about? What is money?
I know that feeling.
I have to work in the barter system with a guy down the street. I'm like, I have 2 healthy goats. Can I have your corn? It's primitive.
You do art?
That would be like I trade donuts to Jacob for art. That's how it's been working.
And yet here I am, bereft of donuts.
Ooh.
I can provide donuts. Donuts, I think it's fair trade.
Don't steal my artist, man. This is not cool.
Hey, I'm looking for artists for Heroic, so I can definitely provide you with donuts. I'll get you Krispy Kremes. Hell, I'll spring for artisan.
Oh,
donuts.
you went for the crack. I take Krispy Kreme above all others.
I need Jacob for my projects, motherfuckers. You can't.
Come on up here to Canada. I'll introduce you to maple glazed bacon donuts.
Oh, you're Canadian? Get me out of this country, and I will work for you forever.
You don't want to come to this failed state. I promise you. You're in the process of collapsing like a flan on a cupboard. But neither there nor there. So back to sci-fi.
80s sci-fi. There's a lot of it. There is so much of this. Even 80s film aficionado such as myself hasn't possibly seen it all. And I've seen Life Force. Come on.
Dude, I love Life Force.
Does anybody remember
Why don't we do
Free
something
Jack?
fun?
Yeah,
Free Jack is the 90s, not 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Free Jack came when I was in radio school. I remember it clearly.
Okay.
Because it was so bad.
I thought it was later on in the 80s, but you're probably right.
Very early 90s, like 91.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, real fast. How about we do this? Starting with Mike and work around. Our top 3 80s sci-fi films. Just name what they are.
Oh, boy.
All right. Starting with me, I will go. I'm not going to put Empire on there because everyone's going to say Empire. I will probably do Enemy Mine, Last Starfighter, and Wrath of Khan. I had to take 3 right off the top. So
Cool. Chuck?
Chuck, what you got?
I'm going to go Wrath of Khan. Best Star Trek movie anyone will ever make. Blade Runner. And Aliens.
All solid choices, Darren.
So Chuck just stole all mine, so I've got to start over. And I'm going to agree with Wrath of Khan. And I'm trying to come up with something obscure here, and I'm not coming up with anything. So I'm just going to say Empire Strikes Back. And no, that one's a big deal, but no, it's not one of my favorites. Screw up Blade Runner.
Okay. Jake? Oh.
Okay, I'm going to try to not touch on Star Wars or Star Trek because I hold those two in separate regard from all general sci-fi. So I'm going to have to say Aliens, of course. Flash Gordon.
Oh.
It is Flash Gordon is my heart. I cannot explain how much I love this film. The design aesthetic is.
Did you guys hear the story that the guy playing Flash disappeared for the last 2 weeks of filming?
No.
Sam Jones?
Yeah, I just heard it. I heard about this recently. Was that they he just kind of went off on a binge, and so a lot of the fight scenes at the end of the movie were done with stuntmen. They managed to get him to come back for the last few finishing scenes, but he was just out having a good time wherever they filmed that.
Well, he hated filming that movie. Continue, Jacob. I want to hear the rest of your choices. Your last choice.
For the last one, hard decision. I'm probably going to have to choose Terminator.
Good.
Yeah.
Respectable.
Mine's easy. Number 1, Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, good.
Greatest fucking film ever made.
Yep.
Number 2 is Last Starfighter. Greetings, Starfighter. Come on, man. That stirs every 80s kid. And I think I'm going to shock you with my last one. Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
I almost said that earlier as a joke, but
it's a great movie.
You know what? I screwed up my list. I'm sorry. I need to throw one out there. RoboCop.
Yeah.
Good movie. I base mine on ones I can rewatch. Right? If I can
Yes.
rewatch them, I love Wrath of Khan, but I watch it once every couple of years. I love Blade Runner. I watch it once every couple of years. I watch Space Hunter, Last Starfighter, and Buckaroo Banzai 2-3 times a year. You know what I mean? I just love those movies. I mean,
All right.
Life Force is a great movie. Who said Life Force? Someone said Life Force.
I did.
That's a
was-
great.
It's not among my favorites, but I do like it.
I love that movie. There is garbage, though. We know there's garbage.
Oh yeah.
Space Mutiny.
Space Mutiny is awesome with fucking MST3K, though.
Sure. That's how you know it's bad, though.
So,
There's when I was a kid, when video stores were a thing, I would judge whether or not a video store was good as to whether or not it had Ice Pirates among its collection.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm a huge Ice Pirates fan, because Ice Pirates is terrible.
It's so terrible. It's good, though.
But if the video store is willing to carry schlock movies, because there are so many video stores out there that are only willing to carry, the top end, movies, critically acclaimed films. A video store needs to be willing to carry schlock. It's just something you can throw in, get together with your buddies, MST3K it, because you're better than MST3K.
Hey, my video store had the Barbarian Brothers.
I love that movie. Are you kidding me? Okay, we're not talking about 80s fucking Barbarian.
I know.
We're going for hours on that.
We've already done 80s fantasy films in the past.
well, I think we've done this subject in the past too. I just like to do it every once in a while.
There's a lot of bleed over, though.
It really is. So
Thank you, Corman.
talk to me about Space Hunter, because this is, I think, my Ringwald's first movie, and I appreciate
Yes.
it for reasons.
Yes.
But,
Okay. So
why
I
do you
will
like-
talk to you about this movie.
okay.
It is a fun romp of an adventure. If you look at it from a playing point of view and you watch it, you will get an amazing fucking idea for an ongoing adventure going from encounter to encounter to encounter that are all very cool and psychedelic and weird, all to eventually raid the castle of the big boss, the Overdog, and try and take him down. The acting is exactly as serious as it needs to be for the movie. What's his name? The star, Peter Strauss and Molly Ringwald have some amazingly touching moments. The way Ernie Hudson and Peter Strauss play off each other is really fun to watch. Like, you get immediately the understanding that the two of them have a past and they play it really well together. The cool, weird shit they deal with, like the blob people that slide, that's fucking weird. The weird mutant kids that make that weird whirling noise before they start throwing Molotov cocktails off the cliff. Weird as fuck, scared the shit out of me as a teenager. And the bad guy is, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Michael
Ironsides.
Michael Ironsides. And he's clearly loving every minute that he's on screen. He's so good as Overdog. It's a great film. I love that.
Well, he's good at everything he does. Everything from V to
Yes.
what was the one he did with Arnold?
Total Recall.
Total Recall. Yeah. And
Michael Ironsides is fantastic.
80s sci-fi. V was so big when I was like 6th grade. Everyone wanted to watch that every week.
Yeah.
I had that in rotation on the VHS player for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just go home and watch it after school every day.
I can dig it.
The 80s knew how to make people care about the characters and understand the plot a little more than what's going on today.
Couldn't agree more.
Because let me tell you, the 1980s Dune is a far superior movie to the 3 Dune movies that are currently coming out. They're in the middle of finishing up the third one. It tells the story they've been telling in these 3 movies in one. It's a long movie, yes, but honestly, I understood what Dr. Yui's motivation was in the 80s film. They don't explain it until he's already done it in the modern films as to what
It's
his
amazing that you'd
motivation
say that,
is.
given the fact that that's a Lynch movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Lynch is not so good at helping people understand his stuff.
Yeah, I was one of those theaters. Granted, I was in Indiana, but they handed us Cliff Notes as we were walking in for Dune in the 80s. There was a full page sheet with character names, place names, basic plot summary. Like, this seems a little unnecessary, but you know.
I was 14 years old. My father was doing some business. I was in the city with him. He says, "Here, go see a movie." I'm like, "Okay." I went down to the theater, and there's this thing, Dune, the sci-fi epic, and blah, blah. I'm like, "All right, I'll go watch this." And I had no idea what I was walking into. I had never read the books. I had no idea what Dune was. And when it was over, I was like, well, that movie changed my entire outlook on everything. Like, I love that movie.
Compare the old The Thing from the 80s to the prequel that came out in the 2000s.
Never bothered. I never bothered with the prequel.
It practical effects and 80s actors to the awful CGI and characters they really don't go into before they start becoming cannon fodder.
Mm.
Well, like, okay, but here's the thing about what makes 80s sci-fi good. 70s sci-fi, okay, 50s and 60s sci-fi was horror, really. At the end of the day, it's meant to scare us and give us a message. Klaatu Barata Nikto, right? That's the point. It's meant to have us give a message. 70s sci-fi is, woohoo, I'm making sci-fi, and it's weird. But then Star Wars comes along and makes a shit ton of money. And they go, well, sci-fi can make money? Wait a minute, what? Close Encounters of the Third Kind makes a shit ton of money. Wait, we can do this? And then the 80s hit, and everybody's like, we can make money on sci-fi? So you get all of the creativity coupled with a commerciality that makes it digestible for the average viewer. So the 50s mentality comes back again of let's make this an exciting, fun movie for the general audience, not just a cerebral head shrink thing, but some of them add the cerebral in as well. Terminator is a very cerebral film. People don't think it because they watch it and they just go, meh. Think about the things, the tropes that were established in Terminator. The idea of your divine ancestry, right? That's a whole high-minded idea, but here it is as a basic plot point of Kyle Reese coming back to create John Connor.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking female victim saves the day and is the last girl, taking that horror trope and putting it in there, right? So she's now the last girl. She saves the day. You're terminated, fucker. You know, like, I mean, that's what's so great about that film. Then we jump up to Aliens, which is Cameron again, and suddenly we've got kick-ass women beside kick-ass men, black, white, doesn't matter. Everybody's equal. They're getting their shit fucked up, and it's crazy. And at the end of the film, the male characters are allowed to be competent and capable without being diminished by Ripley's strength and ability to save the day at the end. But she would not have survived without the male character's support. So there's no diminishing of the genders. There's no diminishing of anybody's role. This is what makes good sci-fi. Roddenberry understood that. Corman understood that. Cameron understood that. Ridley Scott, not so much. Ridley Scott is a very, rest in peace, Peter David, but I will use the exact same term I use for Peter David's writing for Ridley Scott's film directing. Talented hack. You know, very talented, very good at what he does. Couldn't tell a story to save his life. He just tells basic hacky stories. But there you go. So the 80s gave us some really great stuff. And some of those directors went on to become some of the biggest directors in the world in the 90s. So it shows us that there's something there. Paul Verhoeven. Come on. RoboCop? Total Recall? These movies are insanely stupid. You know what I mean? Like they're not high-minded movies. Except, wait a minute, RoboCop is the story of Jesus. Except this time, Jesus comes back with an automatic weapon in his leg. What? You know, like, that's so insane.
Come on. RoboCop is almost worthless without the humor.
That's the point. Verhoeven had a way of trying to be funny that people didn't understand.
And that's the thing. Every time they try to remake RoboCop, and every time they try to do something new with it, it always sucks because it doesn't have the humor.
Same thing with Total Recall.
Yep.
Also,
the absurdity of Total Recall. Sorry, go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to say, people don't want to acknowledge how subversive Paul Verhoeven's movies are. Starship Troopers you can enjoy it as the dumbest movie ever made, but he's talking about some really dark shit in that movie.
Dude.
And RoboCop exactly the same.
I rewatched Starship Troopers about a year ago, and I'm sitting there staring at the screen as this weird thought hit my head. The bugs never sent that meteor to Earth. There is no way they could have sent a fucking meteor from the other side of the galaxy all the way across with the technology we see them having, which is zero. It was a fucking false flag by the government to justify the invasion of Klandathu. My brain just went...
No.
I think you're right.
No. The war is Carmen's fault. The entire war is Carmen's. The entire war is Carmen's fault.
Why?
Carmen, in the scene where we see where they encounter the asteroid that eventually hits Earth,
it's not the same asteroid.
has reprogrammed the ship. Has laid in a different navigation course than the navigation course they were supposed to be, because she determined a faster flight path.
Okay, if they had shown that on screen, I'd believe you, but this is like a Blade Runner theory, sir.
The ship hit the asteroid. Who knows where that asteroid was supposed to be?
but they never jumped, so therefore no.
Astrological sense. That would have deflected the asteroid from its intended course to go off elsewhere, and it hit Earth.
Can I ask you guys a question? Saturn III had Kirk Douglas.
Awful film.
Kirk Douglas, Harvey Keitel, Farrah Fawcett. It should have been a great movie, but it was terrible. Anyone know what happened there?
That was just a terrible movie, and I do not recommend it to anyone. Never watch this movie.
Here's why it's an awful film.
I'm ahead of the curve on this one. I've never seen it.
I mean, Kirk Douglas is as your sci-fi. I'm Kirk Douglas, and I'm in my 60s, and I'm fucking Farrah Fawcett in this movie. What? And they overdub Harvey Keitel's voice.
So Kirk Douglas was in The Final Countdown, which was an 80s movie, 80s sci-fi movie. Yeah. It was actually pretty good. I don't think that song had anything to do with the movie, did it?
I know.
But no, I mean, time travel, going back in time. They had the chance to prevent World War II, but they decided they couldn't, so they just packed it up and went home. Great movie. And Kirk Douglas did it, so he was capable of doing sci-fi.
I would argue that movie, I think, is more of a vibe than a plot. At the very last minute, they're like, "No, we're going to fight," and then all of a sudden, the portal shows up and swallows them up, and their presence changed nothing except they saved the few people on the yacht.
Right.
And,
so the point is, the movie was meaningless.
Basically, yeah. That's
well, okay. That may be the case, but if you look at Star Trek Voyager, what is it? Something like half of that show never even happens.
Yeah. But let's not look at Voyager. How about that?
Mike knows you do not want to get me started on Star Trek.
Before I would ever recommend Saturn III, which is just a horrible film, I would recommend Star Chaser: Legend of Orin.
I love Star Chaser: Legend of Orin. What's wrong with you?
Star Chaser: Legend of Orin is not a good film. It has an interesting plot, but it drags way too much at the beginning to the middle to get to the point of where the story is supposed to be. From the middle to the end, the story finally hits and lets you know there's a plot here. But up to that point, it's a lot of just kind of random encounters.
I kind of dig any movie that has a cover that looks. I've published books with covers better than this, so that makes me feel good.
It's an animated film, and it's a great film, and I've actually stolen the plot and run a Star Wars game using it. So,
a lot of bad movies make good RPGs. I don't know what that says about RPGs, but
I think we can be we have to accept one thing immediately. Film is subjective, not objective. That's just the way it is, right?
Yes.
I know
my
people...
tastes are universal, obviously.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my fault.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were the USBC of film critics. But like, I love Zardoz. But I have friends who've watched it and just gone, how can you love this movie? And I'm like, do you not see how brilliant it is?
It has a mouth that vomits guns.
Yes.
What is there not to love?
The penis is bad. The gun is good. Like, come on. Like, this is great. But it's subjective. So something you like, I might not like. Something I like, you might not like. And that's fair. And that's a fair thing we need to apply when we're talking about this kind of stuff, because otherwise it just turns into, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. And that's the point of to discuss things. I firmly believe, and I have seen a lot of movies, spent over 20 years working in the film industry. Movies were my life for 20, 25 years of my existence, including my teenage years, 35 years of my life was just movies. I have never seen a single movie that didn't have something that I could go, that was cool. Oh, that was a good scene. Yeah. Or that was a cool effect. Or that was a cool this. Not a single movie exists that I can say that about. Star Trek Voyager, there's lots of episodes that I can go, well, nothing fucking cool happened here, and that was just shit. Like, okay, 80s Star Trek is the best Star Trek.
I'd like to argue with you, but I can't. So,
And you can't, or you won't?
I can't. I didn't like Next Generation for the first 4 to 5 seasons.
You weren't supposed to, because Gene was too heavily involved in it.
The first 2 you're not supposed to like. After that, you should start liking it.
Well, it starts to get better. Riker grows the beard, and they get some episodes that are interesting, and it's, But
there are very good episodes. In the first 2 seasons, though, the 80s seasons, that's season 1, 2, and 3, right? No, 1 and 2, because 90 is Best of Both Worlds, I think.
Yeah.
That's the end of season 3. The first 2 seasons, there are a couple of good episodes in there, but they're not that great. DS9, there's a couple of good episodes in there until season 3 when it kicks off. Voyager never has that moment. Voyager just has some really good episodes spread out over 7 seasons of the series, some absolute shit that should never have been put to fucking film in that, and then mediocre, barely watchable crap filling it out. So 80 Star Trek, you got Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, Star Trek 4. And there were no other movies made after that. There is no Star Trek 5 or Star Trek 6. They don't exist. I don't know what you're talking about, just like there's never been a Highlander 2.
Boy, I got to disagree with you on both points.
Well, you like Highlander,
but I'm not going to. I'm going to let you go.
Highlander 2?
Okay, I was introduced to Highlander with Highlander 2.
Oh my, you poor summer child.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I
don't even know what's happening right now. I feel crazy.
A hug. You need help.
So you got to remember that my introduction to Highlander looked a lot more like Cyberpunk than, say, D&D.
Hi, kitty.
Andrew needs his emotional support cat. He needs to deal with this.
An emotional terrorist cat.
I have to be honest. I have to be honest about something, though. I'm not a big Highlander fan anyway. Not the first one, not the second one, or the 5 ones after that also sucked.
I worked on the 3rd one.
You did?
Yeah, I shot here in Montreal. I was part of the effects team that built the big wall for the cave-in. I like and hate this movie at the same time.
All right, tell me how.
It's got some neat ideas, and it's got Corman's creativity. It also has Corman's reused fucking footage from Battle Beyond the Stars, which drives me up the wall sideways, because I hate seeing reused shots, which is my one bugaboo about 70s Battlestar Galactica. Could you sit down? Thank you. And I hate that fucking kid. I hate that fucking kid. But what's his name as the alien guy? I can't remember the actor's name. He's in a ton of Corman stuff. He's really good.
Cool. Yeah, I remember seeing that vaguely sometime back in the misty past. I couldn't quite. I do remember them reusing the footage from Battle Beyond the Stars. Chuck, what's the worst 80s sci-fi movie? If you had to, gun to your head, you had to think of a really bad one.
The worst?
The worst.
I'm going to go Space Mutiny.
Space what?
Space Mutiny.
Okay.
South African sci-fi film with Cameron
my.
Mitchell and Reb Brown and Sissy
Sissy Cameron, who is
Chuck
Cameron
Cameron.
Mitchell's daughter.
Big McLarge huge.
Yeah.
Big McLarge huge, exactly. Yeah, great. And they bought the rights to use the Battlestar Galactica footage for their space.
Yes.
Oh, that's that one. Okay.
They filmed it in some kind of a septic, like water treatment plant, it looks like.
With the windows clearly visible.
I've never heard of this one.
Science Theater 3000 did it as an episode, and it is one of their most brilliant episodes, hands down.
Mike, do not watch it except the MST3K version.
That's true for a lot of sci-fi movies, it seems. But all right, that's cool. Darren, if you had to pick the worst 80s sci-fi movie, what would you say?
Okay, there might be some argument as to whether this is a sci-fi movie or not, but I'm gonna have to go with Howard the Duck.
Shut your dirty whore
mouth. George Lucas made that. What the hell, George? That was terrible.
Spent a lot of money on
it. After Jedi, George Lucas funded a lot of movies that were basically him working out special effects techniques that he wanted to use for the prequel trilogy. So that Radioland Murders, there's a bunch of them that he made that are just like, why did you make this film? Because he could test out a specific special effects thing, and for Howard the Duck it was the animatronics.
Also, he wanted to, and no one could tell him no.
Yeah. There's a great tragic story about Marcia divorcing George, and how so much was lost when he got rid of the one person who could edit his movies and tell him no.
Yeah.
So
I like Howard the Duck. I actually love that movie. It's the movie that made me fall in love with Leah Thompson.
Well, that's fair.
Well, she's probably the one good thing about that movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like every day for one summer back in the late 80s. I remember watching it like multiple times a week. Jacob, worst 80s movie? Sci-fi drama.
I'm going to have to go for it because of the sheer commercialization and the fact that I believe it has absolutely no redeeming value at all. Mac and Me.
I don't even know what that is.
Neither do I.
You don't want to know.
Okay,
it has one redeeming value. One. Wheelchair off the cliff.
Okay, the wheelchair off the cliff makes me laugh every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, whenever Paul Rudd would go on some talk show, he would always set up a clip and do a little interview, and then here's a clip from a movie, and it would always be the wheelchair off the cliff from Mac and Me, which if you haven't seen it, is a terrible E.T. ripoff.
It is so bad, and it is so rife. It is one of those movies that you can tell this was just, they didn't have any budget, so they just, we will put all the advertising in this. So, McDonald's, great. We'll set an entire scene in McDonald's. We will set a musical dance number in a McDonald's. Coke, yeah, okay. The aliens only drink Coke. So Coke, come on in here.
A lot of it.
It is. There's nothing good about this.
Andrew, same question to you, sir. Worst 80s sci-fi.
Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared Sin in 3D.
Oh, tingles. That's hitting the classic button.
It looks like it's going to be great. You see the commercial and you go, "This is going to be bad, but good." Then you watch it and it's like having a fucking root canal.
That's not a bad poster, though.
Great poster. It's got Richard Moll as the bad guy.
It's so anticlimactic.
It's so boring.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I knew at the end of the universe. How could that turn out to be bad? Really? I've never seen it. I couldn't.
Watch it and find out.
I feel like I'm living right because a lot of these movies I've never even freaking heard of. I would never have heard of Space Mutiny if not for Mystery Science Theater.
There's a lot of bad movies I've never seen. There's also a lot of bad movies that I'm glad I've never seen. I've never seen Brazil. I've never seen Videodrome. And
these are not bad movies.
These are major films these are acclaimed films.
Yes,
and I am happy to have never seen them because they look so bad to me.
Brazil is worth
Videodrome is Cronenberg. It's hit or miss. Cronenberg is a very of taste director for sure, but Brazil is amazing.
Zardoz.
Did you like Time Bandits? I
enjoyed Time Bandits.
You'll enjoy Brazil.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say the worst sci-fi movie of the 80s, because if I did, I'd say Return of the Jedi and somebody get mad.
I'll get mad at that one.
Okay.
That's not sci-fi.
I will talk about this movie that time has seemingly forgot.
Iceman. I'm not sure I would classify that as sci-fi.
I wouldn't classify it as sci-fi.
Really?
Yeah, that's a drama.
Yep.
It's a caveman.
That's a fish out of water drama.
No, I loved that movie when I saw it as a kid or a teenager. I recently this year watched it with on Bruce Lombardo. He does this thing called A Girl, a Guy in a Movie, and now it's A Girl, a Guy, and a Bear in a Movie. And we watched it. I hadn't seen it since when it came out, and I was like, "Holy fuck! Why did I think this movie was good when I was a kid?"
It did it better in Encino Man.
I would rather watch Encino Man.
It was okay. It didn't hold up then. Okay.
It doesn't hold up, and the acting is pretty.
Yeah, the last time I saw it, I was probably 12. So
yeah, it's that point in time when everyone thought Timothy Hutton was going to be a big star.
Yeah,
so
all right. Well, hey, we're going to pivot now. This is the pivoting part of the show where we talk about RPGs. And Chuck, let's talk about. You've had a long and storied career in RPGs.
I feel like I'm at my funeral right now. Continue.
Former Emmy nominee here.
Here lies Charles Rice.
Oh, I didn't mean to make it sound like that. But you got your own studio now. You've got your own shingle. Your Apocalyptic Games. I'm going to share your Patreon. And you've got a new system you're working on built. Or actually, you used this before for your zombie game. Now we're doing a sci-fi reskinning of it, right?
Correct. Built among the stars.
Tell us about this.
So it is a science fiction toolkit. It can be used to run anything from the present day through the far future. It can go to Star Trek levels of technology and beyond. There is a level of technology beyond Star Trek, but it's kind of in that by the time you get there, you're dealing with science that's indistinguishable from magic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's a toolkit. Presently, I'm running a campaign called Project Grudge. And it is set in 1949, and aliens are invading the Earth, and the player characters are based out of Area 51, and they are reverse engineering alien technology to fight the aliens. So if you've ever played XCOM, some of this probably sounds familiar, and that's completely coincidental. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never played any of those games. But then you also could do the other campaigns that I've run with it are mostly kind of Firefly, space traders type games. I am fascinated with space truckers as a concept. I want to be a space trucker and live my space trucker life, but I was born too early for that. I want to make the old Moon Mars run with Bruce Boxleitner, that's so it's kind of a toolkit. There's going to be campaigns, mini campaigns in the core book. And exactly, Space Truckers, the actual movie, but
so the best way people can if I'm listening to this podcast at home, I'm thinking to myself, I want to get some more of that. tinyurl.com/epoch games. You can hit up Chuck's Patreon. You can join for free, like I just did, or his $15 playtest tier, and you can get all the built that you want.
Yeah, if you join the playtest tier, you're going to be able to see the game as it currently exists right now. Darren, sorry, what?
I was just wondering, Chuck, do you have any exciting licensing news related to Built that you can share with us?
So, I mentioned that there will be mini campaigns in the book, although it's largely a toolkit. But Darren's Reign of Discordia setting, we have a gentleman's agreement built on a handshake and a smile, as all good agreements should be, that I am going to convert that to Built, and it's going to be the first fully fledged campaign, as opposed to something that's, the Operation Grudge campaign is probably going to come in at about 15, 20 pages. So, Reign of Discordia is going to be much more substantial than that.
All right, cool. If you ever want to convert a space to work setting, I'm your guy.
Space dwarves.
Space dwarves. All right, Mr. Drader, since we were talking of Reign of Discordia.
Hey, great seg, wasn't it?
It's a great segue, yes. By the way, I can't hit your personal website right now, just so you know.
Uh-oh. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm redesigning it, so it's kind of, you just get a page.
No worries. I'm going to put up a new banner, another tiny URL, because I'm a consummate professional. tinyurl.com/rain5e will take you to the 5th ed version of Reign of Discordia right now on Drive-Thru-RPG.
Indeed.
Tell us about this game.
Okay, well, Reign of Discordia was kind of my brainchild back in about 2007. I got with Gunmetal Games, David Jarvis, who basically said, hey, write up a setting that is compatible with the True 20 game system and pretty much do what you want. So the inspiration behind the setting kind of gets back to space opera from the 1970s and the 1980s, specifically things like Star Blazers, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. These are kind of the main influences that go into it. And the big thing, the premise behind it is what happens when the evil empire falls. There's nobody there to pick up the pieces. There is no New Republic. It's more like, we've gotten rid of this big bad government that's been, taking slaves and making people's lives hell and, doing things not in our name, et cetera, et cetera. And once it's gone, everybody just kind of says, well, screw you, we're out for ourselves now. In short, it turns into absolute chaos. With the 2008 version, they're up against this lizard-like alien race called the Reptilic, and in the new version, the new edition, the Reptilic have been dealt with, but now you've got the Lamagos. See the guy with the blue skin? Mm-hmm. Lamagos, and that absolutely has nothing to do with Gamelons from Star Blazers.
Legally distinct. Whole other thing.
I'm just saying, if you take the same letters and spell it out differently, it's not the same thing. Anyway, so in dealing with the Reptilic, they have taken the Lamagos homeworld, their star, and destabilized it. So it is going to go supernova in 5 years. As a result, the species they're freaking out because they need to get their people out of there if possible. But they're kind of culturally kind of hyper aggressive to begin with. So their answer to everything is, well, we're just going to screw the Earthers and take their worlds. So that's kind of where we're at with the new setting, or I should say the new edition of the setting.
All right, cool.
And it is fully compatible with 5th edition. So if you play 5th edition, this has the rules that you will need in order to play space opera in this setting in particular with 5th edition.
We can't say 5th edition of what, but 5th edition.
5e says everything.
Yeah.
Of the world's most popular role-playing game.
If you don't know, just Google 5e.
And if you want to get that in hardcover, glorious, beautiful, resilient hardcover, tinyurl.com/hardcover rain. Oh, there we go. You can get that from Lulu in a very nice glossy covered edition that Darren's showing off there. And Andrew, you said
I actually have something sci-fi.
Okay.
So, as you all know, I'm doing Heroic, which is set in the Zenith universe, and I just shared an image with you there here in StreamYard if you want to pop it up. Starting on June 2nd on my Patreon, there is a 15-part maxi series kicking off, and I'll wait for him to pop up the image on the shared screen. And it is called, it's in StreamYard. Go to the bottom. I'm sharing the screen. You just add it to stage.
Oh, good Lord. There it is. All right.
Look at that. And it's called Freebooters, Tales from the Glittering Darkness, Beyond the Earth and the Zenith Universe. And what this is me leaving Earth in 1980X, which is where the game is set, which is the middle of the 80s, and going out into the galaxy as a larger part. So if you like Starjammers, if you like Omega Men, if you like all that cool 80s sci-fi that Marvel and DC was doing, well, this is my homage and stuff to it. And Freebooters specifically refers to the ship, the Freebooter, and the weird crew that helms it. And it's 15 parts. Every day there's going to be a lore piece and then one of the crew members of the Freebooters added. So $5 a month for my Patreon. And there are literally thousands of posts now and tons of stuff for you. But if you want to know sci-fi specifically, 15 parts, it's going to be tits on coat.
And that's patreon.com/C/Zenith Comics.
Yeah, I think you can just do /Zenith Comics and it takes you there. I don't know.
All right.
There you go.
That works. And I can highly recommend it. I myself am a backer of that Patreon. So
yeah, you get two posts a day. You want to talk about value for your dollar, people? I give you a lore, setting, rules, or adventure. Every morning at 6 a.m. there's a post, and every day at 12 noon there's an NPC posted for you. Full stats, the whole 9 yards. And actually, Jacob, you and I need to talk some business once this is over, because I might have something your art would be good for.
Very well.
Yeah.
that's my art. What the hell, guys?
I am not exclusively your artist. I am a freelancer, sir.
Okay, Jacob is an independent contractor.
I go where the money takes me.
Don't we all?
The noble independent contractor.
What is money?
It is the promise that we can buy goods and services.
Wait, no, I know the answer to this question. It's spelled MUNNY, and it's from the Kingdom Hearts games. I've never seen it in the real world. I've heard people talk about it, but the only time I've ever gotten any was when playing Kingdom Hearts. So,
would people be interested in knowing that I'm working on something sci-fi related as well?
Yes.
Are you under NDA or?
Hell yeah, brother!
Oh no! This is a personal project.
Well, tell us all about
Nice.
Okay, so I recently finished the Superpowered Legends Sourcebook 2 Kickstarter that is currently in the hands of Rogue Genius Games for editing and layout. They are working on that. We should be on queue for getting that out, hopefully sometime next month, which is when we're slated for release. In the meantime, I have been working on the next Superpowered Legends project, which is the Superpowered Legends in space, because I pretty much think I've done everything I can say about what's happening on Earth. So I'm going out into space and talking more about all the cosmic things that are happening. And I'm starting close to home by talking by writing up the sun and Mercury and all the effects of what happens if you get exposed to the sun and Mercury without
You look at Mike. That's what happens when you get exposed to
if you like you want to enter the exposure to this. Let me read this about. As one can imagine, due to its mass and size, the gravity of the sun is intense. From the surface of the sun, it requires an escape velocity of 383 miles per second, meaning you need flight rank 18 to get away from the gravity of the sun. Exposure to the sun requires life support to extreme heat, pressure, and radiation, in addition to the fire and heat effects and radiation effects. The surface of the sun is 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit, or 5,000 degrees Celsius, dealing rank 8 penetrating damage, which affects objects, alternate resistance fortitude, linked to weaken toughness 8, affects objects per round of exposure. So yes, I am writing the game mechanic effects of what it's like to be exposed to these planets without the appropriate life supports.
Yes.
Who hurt you?
This is just I had an idea. Is like, well, what are the game mechanic effects of if someone goes to the sun? Can my Superman character survive going to the sun? And let me tell you, no, he cannot.
There's actually a YouTube series. I forget who does it, but they're kind of popular. Of somebody who just jumps into a planet. They've done Neptune, they've done Jupiter, they've done Saturn. It never ends well, ever. But the guy's in a spacesuit, so he gets down far enough to where you can see it's raining diamonds and shit. You don't. As a human being, you don't want to go to another planet without a spacesuit.
Yeah.
I want to be a naked
minimum.
blue man sitting on the moon. Sorry, on Mars.
The naked blue man is the exception.
It's my favorite character class in Sci-Fi 5e is a naked blue man.
Naked blue man? I mean, of course, he rocks.
He's got all the cheat codes.
Yeah.
I do
got
have
God mode turned on.
Stats for normal Mars, but of course, Superpowered Legends Mars is a different thing going on.
We should probably tell people Superpowered Legends is kind of your Marvel X-verse. So I'm guessing that we're going to see guys like Captain Marvel, Skrulls, the Kree, Galactus,
all that sort of thing.
I have a question, Jacob.
Yep.
Are there insectoid men on Mars, on not real Mars?
They're called the Formians.
Okay. All right. I'm on board.
Thank you, Ender.
You're welcome.
And Lava Being says it's the blue that you need to survive. I think referencing our Dr. Manhattan bit from earlier.
If you drink enough Kool-Aid, it goes real bad.
Colloidal silver. That's actually.
I gotta say, since you brought up the Watchmen, that is bar none my favorite superhero movie of all time. And I know I'm getting that look again.
you and I, sir, are on different wavelengths.
It is the subversiveness of that movie that I love so much.
It's definitely Zack Snyder's best movie.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. I mean, it's not tough competition, in my opinion. But
Snyder, I think, works best when he's dealing with other people's properties, not his own.
Well, that's fair.
Also, the entire plot doesn't hinge on me and my opponent both. Our moms both have the same name. I recommend that not be what your movie hinges on.
You know what? I can actually debunk and debate that point because I got so tired of everybody memeing on it. You understand the reason why he saved Martha is like it's like actually he fucking ham-fisted it, but the intent of it is Batman is forced to accept Superman as a person in that moment.
Yeah.
It's not because their mothers have the same name. It's because who's Martha? Because he's got a Martha, and now this guy's say, what the fuck is he talking about? And then he has to think and go, this is a person with a life and an existence, not just a threat. And
but the Zack Snyderness of it,
hands of a better director.
Yes,
that's all I'm saying.
The Zack Snyderness of it is that it takes him that long to realize that other people are also people. They have interior lives. They are living beings.
Superman. Let's just be honest, okay? My favorite superhero film is Unbreakable, but that's neither here nor there.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Good choice. That is the best Act 1 of a movie ever made. That entire movie is Act 1.
Bad. The Act 2 wasn't bad either. Act 3 was shit. Speaking of M. Night Shyamalan, did you guys realize, and only someone pointed out recently, Signs is not about aliens. They're demons.
What?
Watch it again. They're not in outer space. They're demons. Hence the priest angle and the faith and all that stuff that ties into it.
Okay, I can kind of see that, but I'm not going to watch it.
Ham-fisted and not well done, and in the hands of a better director would have been like, whoa, but we're going to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Review the movie you saw, not the movie you wish you saw.
I could see that interpretation. I could see it.
Yeah, but you also think Decker's replicants, so your interpretations are.
Hey, they made it very clear with the vision of the unicorn.
That's an addition that he put in the director's edition with leftover footage from Legend. So, no.
But it is in there, and he's the one who calls the shots. And on top of that, you've also got Edward James Olmos making the little unicorn and leaving it behind.
Origami unicorn.
Which is a statement that Rachel is a unicorn. She is unique. She is the only one of her kind. She has no expiration date.
But there is parity with the vision of the unicorn.
But that's a thing he added in later by using leftover Legend footage. You're wrong, but that's okay.
Look, there's also a little bit of The Shining in there. Like,
with the
Blade Runner is a beautiful, driving away at the end. So, that's
my favorite version of Blade Runner is literally Blade Runner is the movie I've seen the most times in my life. And the reason why is I worked in a video store, and my roommate said, "I challenge you to watch the same movie every day, once a shift." I'm like, I can do that. So I walked through the entire racks, and I was like, Blade Runner, I'll watch that every day. So it was the original cut with the voiceovers, with the Shining ending that I have seen 150 times, and I fucking prefer that one to every other version of Blade Runner that's ever come out.
Wow, that's really sad for you, because that's the one that the studio was like, we don't think anyone's going to get it. We need a narrator. That's so depressing to me. The
apocrypha on that is that Harrison Ford did it badly on purpose. That's not true. Harrison Ford even has said himself, I did it as what I thought Decker would
of course.
It was a throwback and an homage to noir films. Of all the gin joints in the world, she had to walk into mine.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason it's there is you had a bunch of suits who literally didn't think the audience was going to understand what the movie was about.
I agree, but
that's so depressing.
Even with the narration, a lot of people didn't. Back when it came out, I knew people who seeing it for the first time in the theater. They said, we sat down and we started watching it, and it was terrible, and we walked out. And I mean, it actually, I didn't get around to watching it for a long time after that, because everything I'd heard had been so negative about it.
Wow.
I had the pleasure of seeing it in the theater when it came out. I was young, but I got to see it, and I loved it. I was, I was a country boy in the city, and I saw this movie, and I'm like, whoa,
Also, by the way, set in the year 2019, the original Blade Runner. Think about that.
Where's our flying cars?
Yeah, somehow.
Okay. Don't get me started. Where's my robot manservant? Where's my flying car? Come on now. I had personal jetpacks on my.
Have you seen the flying motorcycles that have just been advertised?
No.
Fuck! I just want street side sushi places. I'll settle for that. I can't even get that.
I guess it's worth mentioning that Tesla is working on putting out your robot manservant.
Yes, they are, and I'm very scared of it. And Japan's trying to figure out a way to put skin on them, which is even creepier.
They're coming.
What's it like, guys? How do you feel living in the cyberpunk dystopia? I don't play cyberpunk or run cyberpunk anymore because I'm fucking living it.
Yeah, where megacorps run the world,
dystopia.
The future.
Where violence is commonplace in the street, where we have incredible levels of technology and connection. We have a cat who's about to get into a lot of trouble.
And as a result, people increasingly retreat into virtual worlds. Guys, the future.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great. Love it. I've always been a new technology adopter. So, I see something big coming and I'm like, I got to get in on that. That's pretty cool. I know there's always downsides. There's always unintended consequences. I don't hate AI. I think, I think that The Terminator was not a documentary. I think AI is kind of cool. What can I say?
I have a friend who's very much into computer stuff and AI, and she put me very clear on that one day. She goes, "This is not AI. It is a stupid term people are applying to something that is not artificial intelligence, but that's the only way the average dumbass can understand it. This is not AI." So I like to refer to them as smart tools, right? And I remember when Photoshop launched, and every artist I knew, "Use Photoshop. You're not a real artist." And now they all use Photoshop.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they all got their Wacom tablets and their pens, and they're off doing that. This is the same thing. There's a great YouTube video I just saw recently where an AI guy sat down with an actual artist to create a piece of art, and the artist, watching the realization set in, he's like, "It's not this that's going to take work from me. It's the people who master using it that are going to be the ones taking work from me. And therefore, as an artist, I need to learn how to use this."
And that is the right attitude.
Well, that's a whole other subject for a podcast. Cameron Lyles, hey Cameron, how you doing? Cameron should be on this show. He's worked with several of us as a freelancer. At least I know he's worked with me and Jacob a bit. Cameron, I'm late to the party, but if you haven't talked about Tron yet, I maintain it's got a very 80s anti-communism allegory in there. MCP equals communist dictator. I can see that. What do you guys think about that?
I have a hot take on Tron.
What's your hot take on Tron?
I don't like it. I know, I'm Gen X and I don't love Tron. What's wrong with me?
I like it better when it's called Babylon 5.
Oh!
Now, you might think I'm going in one direction, but I'm actually going the other direction. You look at the actors who are in it. A lot of Tron actors ended up in Babylon 5.
Well, Bruce Boxleitner. Who else?
The actor who plays Londo Mollari is in Tron.
Oh, that's right. He is. Yeah, he's the accounting program. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And David Warner is in it, right?
Yeah.
He's the MCP or whatever the guy that reports to it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting theory, sir. Interesting. You've redeemed yourself slightly in my eyes.
I will say,
the Tron and Babylon 5 are about as incestuous as Star Trek and Gargoyles.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I will say this: Tron Legacy is a highly underrated film, and people slept on it. It's really good.
I loved Tron Legacy.
I have the Blu-ray,
and I'm looking forward to the new Tron movie now.
Ares looks good, but I hate Jared Leto.
Yeah.
As all right-thinking people do.
I don't hate him.
They should have never let him anywhere near the Joker.
I didn't hate his Joker.
Religion, belief in the users, and are assimilated, made useful to the state, the MCP. Also, B5 is awesome, and I always wondered why so many Tron actors are in it. I think that's probably down to Straczynski. So at least liking the actors. I can see your point, Cameron. I liked Tron so much myself when I was a kid. It's one of those 80s movies I think it holds up better in nostalgia. I would not watch it today if I had to, but some of the sequels have been all right. Although, frankly, I'm the same way about Ghostbusters. I tried to watch it with my kid, and he was like, "This is kind of boring." And I'm like, "Yeah, the humor hasn't." I remembered it being like the most hilarious thing when I was his age in 6th grade, and now it just didn't hit the same.
Ghostbusters,
the original. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd.
Me and my friends still quote that film to this day in everyday life.
I think the quotes are funnier than the movie is at this point. Maybe I've seen it too often. I don't know.
I will literally, when I'm grocery shopping with a friend of mine, pick something up randomly and go, you've earned this. I'll hand it to him, and he'll just be like, fuck. He's like, right away he gets the reference.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anything else we want to talk about in regards to 80s sci-fi?
It's better than you think it was. Even the garbage has something redeemable in it that you can steal for one of your RPG campaigns, and I have.
There is a lot to 80s sci-fi that you will enjoy no matter what you're watching. There are always things to homage and take. I can't tell you how many times I've drawn critters for different sci-fi games already.
Oh, and Tarna the Trakian is the greatest female warrior in the history of female warriors. Would kick the shit out of Red Sun.
100%.
So I will make the case that despite the budgets today and the special effects and everything they can do technically, the sci-fi that we're getting these days does not compare to what we had in the 80s.
I feel like their limitations technically made them more creative. When you look at the puppetry that is involved in The Terminator, a movie that was made for $3 million, which is ludicrous. That movie looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that is just Stan Winston puppetry magic.
The 80s sci-fi is the living proof of the expression necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
How can we do? And by the way, if you want to know more about 80s sci-fi, you need to watch Jodorowsky's Dune and see how this one little book he made of all the with the Mobius, Jean-Jacques, of all the panels he did of what it's a book this thick of how his movie was going to be shot and went all around Hollywood, and then you can see every movie that took something from that book in the 80s and added it to their sci-fi. It's insane. This man defined 80s sci-fi in the 70s.
The other point that I was going to make regarding sci-fi today and fantasy today is simply the likability of the characters. How many? I mean, Game of Thrones. There's a big budget, big thing that everybody loves. Name me one character in that show that you actually like. I can't.
Ned Stark, but he dies.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone loved Ned.
Okay, there's one character in that entire show that I like, and that's the Hound. That's it.
You don't like Jon Snow?
Arya Stark.
Just the Hound.
Arya Stark?
Oh, God, no. What an unlikable little Mary Sue she is.
You don't like the half-man, the imp.
What?
You don't like the imp? Peter Dinklage. You don't care for the little fella?
Talk too much.
Way too
I said that about Tyrion Lannister.
Didn't know when to shut up.
All right. I would argue that season 1 of The Mandalorian, that character becomes very likable over the course of those shows. I'm not going to defend.
I agree.
The other seasons of Mandalorian are wildly mixed in my view, but
no, season 1 was really, really good. Season 2 was hit or miss, and then it's just forget it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we got to see Luke Skywalker. That's great. Wait, now we're seeing more of fucking deepfake Luke Skywalker? No.
Jacob, you shared a link with me here. What is this YouTube?
I was sharing the video for the flying motorcycle.
Oh, okay. We can share that.
For those who haven't seen it, look up Volonaut.
Is this real?
This is real.
Yeah,
I've looked this up on through other sources. This is a real thing.
They make it hard to believe it's real when they have a guy on it dressed like a stormtrooper flying through a forest.
Yeah, I
literally
saw the
recreate shots
with the scout trooper.
Yeah, they recreate shots from Return of the Jedi. That's where you look at it and you're like, what AI nonsense am I watching right now? But then you find out it's real, and then you're like, oh, I'm just watching Marketing Genius. That's what I'm watching.
You know, the jetpacks are a real thing.
Well,
jetpacks are a real thing. They actually manufacture them. People actually use them to fly around.
Yeah, but they last like a minute tops. Whereas this, you can actually you can fly around with it for several minutes.
Several minutes and tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, yes, that's true.
Look, no one can do cocaine anymore. We have to separate people with too much money from their money somehow.
And speaking of the 80s, there you go. Powered by greed, fueled by cocaine. So there you go.
I've always
You ever see the movie The Last Dragon?
Yeah.
You guys ever seen that movie?
Not.
Yeah.
Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon
Yeah,
with Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem, and all that.
Oh,
I showed
yes,
it to a
yes.
girl I knew. She was 10, 15 years younger than me. And she just looks at me halfway through the film and she goes, "You know what the most common phrase on the set of this movie was?" I went, "What?" She goes, "Where's my blow?"
That film is absolute crap. The only thing that saves Last Dragon is Shonuff.
Oh my God.
Shonuff is the greatest thing
How
that
to tell
comes
me you
out
don't
of
know
that
anything
movie.
about Shaw Brothers kung fu films, man? That's the point of the movie, is that all the black guys act Chinese or like kung fu characters, and all the black guys act like inner city hoodlums. It's hilarious. It's oh my God, I can't even read it. You have no appreciation of garbage. That's your problem.
I love garbage.
Then how can you not love the last
What I can't stand is things that waste my time.
Oh well, give me all the hell.
I feel justified watching Shonuff, but Leroy, I don't give a fuck about his plot.
Skinny little lizard named Leroy Brown catches bullets with his teeth.
Well, all right. I could talk about The Last Dragon for a little. We could talk about martial arts movies. We have just last year we had an hour-long martial arts show with Walt and James Kerr, I think a Canadian publisher you might know. So, but I'm so tempted to show that Space Dwarf clip right now with your voiceover, but that's probably
If you feel the need, do it, man. Go for it.
That's all right. Everyone on the
Before
show.
you do that, I have to say something important. Gordon's alive.
See, that's some good stuff right there.
Yeah. All right, I think we should call it a show. Everybody, thanks for coming out. This was a good. Cameron wants to see it. Oh God, I have.
Show it. I won't be embarrassed, dude. It's my work.
We've already gone off the rails. Go ahead. It's only another minute.
Fair enough. All right.
It's promotion for stuff we all do.
That's right.
Space is a bitch. That was the slogan on the recruitment poster, just above a battle-weary dwarf gripping a plasma rifle. It wasn't about glory, riches, or the gritty romance of the galactic frontier. It was a call to join, damn it, Dwarven Assault Mining and Neutralization Interception Teams. A promise of survival for you and your Dwarven brothers. A shot at a better life among the distant stars. In the outer dark, in asteroid belts, or on wilderness planets at the edge of known space, life is hard. The universe doesn't care about the dwarves who mine its bones. The threats are endless. Savage aliens, marauding pirates, and God knows what else wants to eat you alive. But with damn it, dwarves fight back. And they survive. In the outer dark, damn it, conquers. So maybe space is a bitch. It's cold and dark and lethal. But we're dwarves! And what's more, we're damn it! We don't die easy. If the universe wants to kill us, it's going to have to take a number and get in line.
I know it's cheesy, but that's like the favorite thing.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm your voice whore. Jacob's your artist, and I'm your voice whore. It's all good.
And there's a 5e version of that.
There is a 5e version. Just came out 2 weeks
Nice.
ago. Yeah.
Nice.
And working on the Savage Worlds version. I just one day soon, my main freelancer will resurface from the Witness Protection Program or wherever he might be, and we can see the state of the manuscript. But that's a part of publishing people don't talk about. I got this book, supposed to kickstart it soon, and the freelancer stopped returning my calls, my texts.
I will happily talk about it.
Oh, well, you've had that problem so much the last few years. That's right.
Dude, literally, the joke we're doing now is we're literally going through artists the way Spinal Tap goes through drummers.
Yeah. I hate to say this with Jacob's on the show, but sometimes I fantasize about how much easier RPG publishing would be without art.
This is why I have made it a point to always stay in communication with my publishers and my customers. I have seen and I have heard all the horror stories of artists who go out of communication until the very last minute that the art is due, and they say, "Oh no, I can't do it." It's like you could have told me this. You could have told me this a month ago, weeks ago.
I've gotten used to that. I can handle that. We have a Filipino artist. I think he's dead. He just vanished from the face of the earth. Like nothing. His Facebook's been inactive for 3 months. The whole 9 years. That's fine. Whatever.
I can't comment on this.
Ones who show you their portfolio, and you go, "Oh fuck yeah, this is great art," and you negotiate a price, and then what they hand you is like amateur hour by comparison. It's like you're using this as your calling card, which is your best work, but you're not providing your best work for the jobs.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck them. No offense, Jacob. I love art. I love artists. You're fantastic people.
There have been times
AI doesn't vanish on me.
There have been times where I have slacked on my job purposefully because they've talked me down from my price. Yeah. If you talk me down from my usual price, you're not getting my good stuff.
Yeah. AI doesn't have that problem for me. I always get my best stuff. Now I'm at the point, like, I literally just said for fun, because I use my Patreon, which uses AI art, I use to generate money to pay the art team. That's what it's there for. It's to make money to pay the artists. And I've had people go, "I'm not supporting anything that uses AI art, and AI art doesn't support real artists." I'm like, but the money you're giving me is going to real artists, you fucking tool. And then I suggested to my backers I could release an AI art edition of Heroic, clearly delineated as AI art, so that way we can sell it and make money to then pay the real artists to get the good art done for the final product, which will be what you will all get as backers. Holy fuck. I might as well have said, "I'm going to break into your houses and rape your mothers," because the reaction was insane.
Yeah, I would suggest that you could suggest the same thing, but with stock art, and probably get less of a hostile reaction.
Oh, definitely.
The what?
Stock art.
I would never use stock art.
What? Hang on. Why would you use AI but not stock art?
Because at least the AI stuff is original and looks like what I want, as opposed to stock art, which looks like, "Oh, I've seen this in 8 other games."
Well, the secret is to get the artist as stock art as soon as they release it, so you're the first one. But yeah.
Even then, I would rather, and I may do this for Valorous, I might release it without any art at all, and just say, "Here's the game, read the book," like the old Traveler stuff. It's like, I don't care. Because I'm sorry to say, artists bankrupted me. Artists, the majority of the money I raised for Heroic got pissed down the hole of about 5 different artists that ruined it. And it's like, well, now I'm paying out of pocket out of my paycheck for art because we have no more money left. It's like, it's insane.
Well, that might be the way to go then, yeah. I would say there's a lot of stock art for superheroes on sites like Shutterstock or Adobe that hardly ever get used in RPG books, because people always just go to Drive-Thru-RPG for their stock art. So
that would work really well if we weren't doing specific voiced characters in the body text that need art of them to show the character.
Then you're fucked, yeah. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that feels good.
Yeah. Maybe just a cool cover and go artless.
We have a great cover, but the superhero game needs art. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, guys. I gotta put my kid to bed. This has been really fun. We should do it again soon. I like talking to you guys.
Good crew.
It is. Chuck, Darren, Jacob, Bear, thanks for coming out, guys.
Always a pleasure.
And everyone listening, we will catch you next time on the BAMP Podcast.
Thanks for having us.